Good morning. On behalf of the San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit District, I'm here this morning to confirm the reports that it was, in fact, Officer Tommy Smith who was tragically killed in the line of duty yesterday afternoon. As it was reported last night, Tommy and other members of the department were conducting a probation search in the city of Dublin when he was fatally struck by gunfire from a fellow officer. Paramedics were summoned to the scene and immediately transported him to Eden Hospital in Castro Valley. However, despite the emergency room's medical staff's best efforts, they were unable to save Tommy's life. Tommy was a 23-year veteran with our department and was in charge of our detective unit. He was married, and he and his wife, Kelly, who was also a BPD officer, in which she has a canine, have one daughter. Tommy was a great law enforcement officer, but even a better son, brother, husband, father, and friend. He touched many lives in a positive way. Both professionally and personally, he will be sorely missed. On behalf of the BART Board of Directors, the GM, and the rest of the district, I would like to extend our deepest condolences to Kelly and their daughter and other members of their immediate family. This tragic incident is being investigated by the following agencies: the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, Alameda County District Attorney's Office, the BART Police Department Internal Affairs Unit, and the BART Independent Police Auditor. Before I take your questions, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the members of our extended law enforcement family locally and from around the country who has reached out to us and let us know that we're in their thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. I would also like to thank the governor and our Attorney General, Kamala Harris, for her call and condolences. I would especially like to acknowledge and thank Sheriff Greg Ahern and the members from his department for all of their assistance and kindness they have shown to my personnel, and the Alameda County DA Nancy O'Malley and Chief Investigator Brad Kearns for their personnel's quick response as well. Finally, I can't say enough about the emergency room medical staff at Eden Hospital for everything they did to try to save Tommy's life. They were very accommodating to all of our personnel and other law enforcement personnel from around the Bay Area that responded to the emergency room, and we'd like to say thank you. I will now take your questions.
Chief, how long were they inside that apartment before the shooting happened?
I would have to defer to the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, who are the lead investigators on that and who will be able to answer those questions when they complete their investigation. What I can say is our officers are trained to conduct this type of incident, going out, doing a probation search of an individual who was wanted for committing crimes on BART property. And although he was in custody, this is not uncommon for law enforcement officers to do follow-up investigation and try to recover stolen property.
Chief, did they all know that John Henry Lee was not there, and were they anticipating that others were in the apartment?
Yes, they knew that John Henry Lee was in custody. And there's always a possibility that somebody else can be in their apartment.
What's the protocol from our police officers when entering a home in this kind of, to do this kind of search? Are they supposed to have their weapons out, drawn?
Again, I didn't interview the officers. Alameda County Sheriff's Department, the ones who did conduct those interviews, and those type of questions will be answered by them. What I can tell you, police work is dangerous. There's nothing routine about it. Some things are more dangerous than others, and going into someone else's home is probably one of the most dangerous things that we can do as a law enforcement.
Can you know what the procedure is supposed to be when officers go to a home like this in these circumstances?
Again, they're supposed to practice good officer safety in accordance with their training, and I'm very confident in the training that our personnel have received to make sure that they're prepared to deal with these type of encounters and situations. because you never know what's on the other side of the door.
Chief, can you talk about that training? What kind of ongoing training do BART police have to go through?
I've stated, over the years, since I've been chief here, our personnel receive probably more training than other law enforcement officers throughout the state. The state only requires 24 hours of continued professional training. Every 2 years, BART police officers are taken off the front line and receive this type of continuous professional training in the amount of 40 hours every year.
Chief, did they have the option of calling in Dublin PD if they wanted to, or other outside police, more highly trained officers into that situation? Can they do that rather than go in themselves? And if so, why did they go in themselves?
Again, BART Police Department officers are just like any other law enforcement officers in the state. Our standard operating procedure in this type of situation, when we go into another jurisdiction, is to contact the local law enforcement agency of that jurisdiction and have them on scene with us. And we did have an Alameda County Sheriff's Department uniformed deputy there with us.
Chief, how many people were in that apartment? What were they looking for, and how did they get in?
Again, that I will defer to the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, who are conducting this investigation. What I can say is our personnel went to that apartment under the accordance of law with their training within our policy and procedures and gained entry and was seeking to locate stolen property that occurred, that this suspect took.
Can you elaborate on the stolen property? Was the door open? Did they force the door open? Did they have a search warrant?
Alameda County Sheriff's Department, they're the lead investigators on this. They will be the ones that will be able to answer most of those questions because, again, I have not interviewed my officers. The type of property they were looking for were a stolen laptop, a laptop bag, and some other materials in accordance with that laptop.
Do you know how many times he was shot and where he was shot?
Again, I don't want to get ahead of Alameda County Sheriff's Department, who are the lead investigators on that. What I can say is all our personnel were wearing bulletproof vests. And again, they were following our policy and procedures and their training.
Can you name the other officer?
No, we're not going to name the other officer until next week. We want to give him a chance to grieve because of everything that's happened. I visited with him last night. He's extremely upset, obviously, and we want to get him a chance and his family to come to grips with what's going on and what's happening.
Chief, have these two officers been involved in previous probation searches, and was there a tactical plan established before going in?
It's not uncommon for BART Police Department detectives and our regular patrol officers to be involved in probation searches.
How often are probation searches done? How common is it? Once a month? Once a week?
It varies. I don't have a set number. When we come in contact with individuals, obviously, who are on probation, and we feel that they possibly are in possession of more stolen property, we can exercise the terms and conditions of their probation.
Chief, we'll certainly ask the sheriff, but with you on the stand right now, we had to ask you, do you know if the situation involved in that the two officers separated and they spooked each other, or one spooked the other by mistake, or were they, is this a potential unholstering, inadvertent trigger fire? Anything specific you can tell us? I know we'll ask JD, but the chief, maybe preliminary indication.
No, I don't have anything that I can tell you definitively about what happened. I will have to defer to the Sheriff's Department, who are the lead investigators on that. And what I can say again is our personnel trained for these type of scenarios, and what they did, how they approach that apartment is in accordance with our training.
Buddy, were the detectives in plain clothes and were they wearing lapel cameras? Remind us if only uniformed officers wear any lapel cameras, and could this have been caught on such devices?
There were actually 8 officers on scene, 5 detectives, 2 uniformed officers, and 1 Alameda County Sheriff's deputy.
So total of how many from your department? From BART?
7.
7 from your department and 1 from Alameda County Sheriff?
Yes, 5 detectives in plain clothes, 2 uniformed officers.
2 uniform BART officers?
Yes.
And were any of your personnel wearing lapel cameras?
Yes.
And do you know if any of the 7, well, let me just check that, are any of the detectives plain clothes, do they wear lapels or only uniform, and are the uniform and or detective cameras, if applicable, capture this unfortunate incident?
Detectives can, all BART police officers, sergeant and below, are issued lapel cameras. It's optional for the detectives to wear them. It's mandatory for the uniformed personnel to have them on. As far as what was or was not captured, again, I would have to defer to the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, who is conducting that investigation.
Was Tom
Can you tell us
Smith in
about the
plain
status
clothes?
of the officer whose gun went off? Is he on leave, indefinite leave, or what's his status at this point?
As with any officer involved shooting, that officer is on an administrative leave.
And just have to see how long that lasts.
Yeah, we'll see how long that plays out.
What did you tell the officer, when you spoke with the officer last night, what words of encouragement, what conversation, if you don't mind sharing any of it that you had with him as chief?
That we would get through this together as an agency.
Chief, I know this is new, but is there anything else you can share about the sergeant and then how you all are doing?
I don't understand your question.
How you all are coping with this? It's sudden, it's the first, and if there's anything else you can share about him, how he's being remembered, his work ethic, anything else?
As I said before, or said last night, we're in shock, disbelief, we're numb. We're grieving, and please give us some time.
Chief, we're very sorry what has happened. Has the officer who fired this weapon been afforded legal counsel? Did he give a public safety statement, and was he questioned with or without an attorney last night or today?
In accordance with the Peace Officer Bill of Rights, and any situation like this, an officer is afforded legal counsel, which he did have.
Tell us about Tom Smith, your personal interaction with him. Trying to give us texture on Mr. Smith.
Great guy. Can-do attitude. Very, very supportive of his personnel. Just a really, really happy guy. Family man. You know, I got the opportunity to meet his mom last night. His 2 brothers are also in law enforcement locally. You just couldn't meet a nicer guy.
Okay, thank you. Chief, one more question. When you said that there were 5 detectives, plainclothes detectives, and 2 uniformed officers and an Alameda County Sheriff's officer on scene. On scene, does that mean in the apartment or at the scene? How many were in the apartment?
And again, I didn't respond to the scene, and the Alameda County Sheriff's Department are the ones who are amassing all of this information, and who, once this investigation is completed, I'm sure we'll be able to answer all of those questions. Again, we had 7 of our officers there. Standard procedure for our agency is to contact the local jurisdiction if we're going into another city, and make sure that we have a uniform presence from that local jurisdiction, and also have uniform personnel from our department there as well.
Chief, was Tom Smith in...
Carry? What type of gun, what type of weapons do your officers carry?
Our officers predominantly carry a Glock or a 6-hour 10 millimeter 40 caliber weapon. But they do have some of them do have the option to carry other style weapons. But the majority of our personnel, what we standardly issue, are the Glock and the SIG 6-hour.
Chief, was Tom Smith in plain clothes, or was he in uniform?
He was in plain clothes.